Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dylan, and today I'm going to be sharing 7 more Kindle tips and tricks that are going to help you get the absolute most out of your Kindle device. Now, if you missed my first Kindle tips and tricks video, I highly recommend that you go back and check that video out because I think the information there is going to be very useful to you. But in this video, I've got 7 brand new tips that are going to help you out even more with your Kindle device. So whether you've got the Kindle Basic, the Kindle Paperwhite, the Kindle Oasis, or maybe even an older Kindle than that, I think this video is going to be helpful to you. Now make sure you stick around to the end of this video, especially if you haven't seen my other Kindle tips and tricks video, because I've got a tip that can save you $20. It will cost you absolutely nothing, free tip, just stick around to the end of the video. So let's get right to it and start off with tip number 1, which is, if you want your screensaver to just be a blank screen, you can do that on the Kindle. Now typically with an ads enabled version of the Kindle, your screensaver is going to be an ad for some book.
Wow.
And then if you've got the ads disabled version, your screensaver is going to be a wonky picture of some pencils or a skyscraper or something like that. But if you would rather just be a minimalist and have your screen stay blank when you're not using your Kindle, or if you just would like to extend your battery life ever so much, you can turn your screen off when you're not using the device. To do this, just hold down the power button on your device, and unfortunately on the Paperwhite, the button is at the bottom, and you're going to hold this button down for about 5 seconds until this menu pops up. And from here, you're just going to select Screen Off. And then when you want to turn your device on, you'll just wake it up as normal. Tip number 2, did you know that you can actually access the internet on your Kindle? Now yes, in an ideal world, you would just get on the internet on your phone or your computer or your iPad. But in a pinch, if you have no other devices around for some reason and you want to access the internet on your Kindle, it is a possibility. To access the internet from your Kindle, make sure that you are on the Home tab and then select the 3 dots menu on the top right and just select Web Browser. And there you go. You are on the World Wide Web. But again, you're probably not going to want to use this feature if you can help it, but if you need it, it's a useful thing to know. All right, now moving on to tip number 3, and this is an especially useful tip. If you've ever been reading a really dense book or a really difficult book or a book where you continually found yourself going back and rereading paragraphs and rereading sentences and just spending a lot of time in that book, that's going to slow down your overall average reading speed. And so when you begin a new book, your Kindle is going to think that your reading speed is probably much slower than it actually is. To tell your Kindle that you want it to relearn your reading speed, just go up to the search bar from your home page and type into the search bar ;reading time reset. And this is a case-sensitive search. It's not really a search at all. You're really just telling your Kindle that this is what you want it to do. But you type that in and you press enter. And then when you go back to your book that you are currently reading, you'll see at the bottom left corner that your Kindle is going to say that it is learning your reading speed. Now moving on to tip number 4, if you like to keep things nice and tidy, you can actually clean up your Kindle home screen by using something called collections. Now your Kindle has this feature where you can add certain books to a collection. And this is especially useful if you want to group books together, perhaps by genre, by author, or however you would like to do so. Now to use the collections feature, you're first going to have to create a collection. To create a collection from your home menu on your Kindle, tap the 3 dots menu, and at the very bottom you'll see create a collection. From here you'll create a collection and you'll title it whatever you would like to call your collections. This is a really easy way to keep things nice and tidy, to have a little bit more organization on your Kindle, especially if you have a lot of books in your library. Tip number 5 is one that you may already be familiar with, but I've included it because if you don't know about it, you are really missing out. And that is that you can actually listen to audiobooks from your Kindle. Now, you probably already know that your Kindle doesn't have a built-in speaker, so you'll need some sort of Bluetooth speaker or Bluetooth headphones to use this feature, but there's a good chance you probably have one of those lying around somewhere. And so if you want to use your Kindle to listen to audiobooks, you can do that, and it's really easy. Now, if you're subscribed to Kindle Unlimited, you've probably noticed recently that a lot more books being added to Kindle Unlimited have the audiobook feature available, which is really great. But if you like to buy a lot of books from the Kindle store, you've probably seen that there's always that little checkbox on the books page that says add narration for 3 times the price of the book, which is probably a little too steep in my opinion. But anyway, that's besides the point, I suppose. So no matter how you've gotten an ebook with narration included onto your Kindle, assuming you do have one on your Kindle, to listen to the narration, all you'll have to do is select that book, and then when the book loads, tap towards the top of the screen to pull up this kind of menu overlay on the book, and you'll see at the bottom right corner a pair of headphones. You'll just press on that pair of headphones, and it will bring up the option to either download the audiobook if you haven't already, or to play the audiobook. And again, your Kindle doesn't have a built-in speaker, so you're going to need to connect a Bluetooth device to your Kindle, which is very easy to do. At the very bottom left of the screen, you'll see that there is a little prompt that says, no Bluetooth connected. So assuming that you don't already have headphones connected to your Kindle, you'll press that, and then you'll just select your Bluetooth device from the menu, and you'll be good to go. At that point, you just press play and enjoy your audiobook. And I think the really cool thing here about this feature is that you can actually read along with the narration, unlike Audible. Audible is great. I've been using Audible for a really long time, but sometimes I wish that I could read along with the narrator. In this case, you can. Now moving on to tip number 6, this is one that I hesitated to include because I think a lot of people are probably aware of it, but I did include it because if you don't know about it, you are really missing out and making your life probably just a little bit harder. And that is this really easy way to navigate through pages or navigate through your book on your Kindle. Now for a book that you're reading linearly, that is, you're just reading through the book and once you're done with it, you're done with it, this is not a huge deal. But specifically with like nonfiction books or especially textbooks where you like to go back and forth, maybe you highlighted something 5-10 pages ago that you want to go back and see, it's kind of a pain to tap the screen 15 times till you get back to that page. So an easier way to navigate through your book is just to swipe up from the bottom of the page as you are viewing your book, and then select this little grid icon. And once you select that little grid icon, you'll see that 9 pages pop up on the screen, which makes your swipe much more efficient if you need to travel a far distance forward or backward in your book. Again, not earth-shattering stuff, but if you didn't know about that, I think your life just got that much easier. Now finally, tip number 7, the one that I promised you at the beginning of the video, the one that could potentially save you $20 is this. If you have a Kindle with ads that are enabled, in other words, when your Kindle is locked, your screen always displays an ad for some book that you probably don't care about. If you don't like that, you can actually just reach out to Amazon, and there is a really good chance that they'll remove those ads for free. Now, this is not a guarantee. I can't guarantee that because I'm not Jeff Bezos, so the person could say no. No. But in my experience, and in the experience of just about everyone in the comments section of my first Kindle tips and tricks video, said that this worked for them. So you can either reach out to Amazon via phone, but I'm not a phone guy, so I use Amazon Chat, and just get on Amazon Chat and ask them nicely to remove ads, and there's a really good chance that they'll do it. So if you try this and it works, let me know in the comments below. I love to hear that this tip works because I kind of like to know that I save people $20. That kind of makes me feel good. And no pressure, but as a thank you, if you want to press the subscribe button, it would help me out a ton. It costs nothing, it takes half a second to do, but it really does make a difference to me, and I would truly appreciate it. And if this video was helpful, hit the subscribe button for all the same reasons. I would truly appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.